In this video, we'll write a program that uses for loops to get the user to enter two numbers and display their product at each round. This video is a response to a comment that I got on the Java 6 video. The comment says, how would you write a program where the user inputs two numbers to be multiplied and it runs on a loop 3 times, each time asking the user to input these numbers? So I hope I've gotten the title correctly. Let's go ahead and start our program. We'll start with our first double value. So we'll declare two doubles, one for our first number and one for our second number. And then we'll write the loop, integer I is equal to 0. We want, as requested in the comment, to run 3 times. So just specify where you'd like this to end. Now I think the preference would be to actually put that into a variable called limit and give that value number 3 and then just change it here. Now this is good so that in the future, if you want to ever change how many times your loop will run, just change that number. And if you need to use this value or limit for other things like calculating stuff, then that value is also here saved into this variable here. Okay, so what we want to do is ask the user to, actually let's keep it as print. Let's ask the user to enter the first value. I can't type today. And then what we want to do is read that value. So we will use our input. So we've already got our input object, which is an object of a scanner class. We've already got that declared. What we're going to do is we will read this next line as a string. And then what we want to do is put that value into our variable here. But because this is a string and that is a double, let's pass it using the wrapper class double and pass into int that whole thing. So this string will be passed into a double, so now it's of appropriate size, type. Now let's copy the same and do the second number. I'm just going to run it to make sure I haven't got any issues, and that should go into number 2. So the loop should pretty much run 3 times, but we haven't got a result yet. We'll do that. Just making sure that it's working okay. Now in the last line inside our loop, we want to print the product. I'm going to use the printf function to indicate our first formatting rule, which will be printed to 2 decimal places, and it's a float. And what we want to say is that first value, our first number multiplied by our second number, is equal to some other third value. What we want to now do is fill out what will replace these. So it'll be first number, second number, and third will be a multiplication of these 2 numbers. That's pretty much it. And then we've got, after the loop, we've only closed the scanner, so there's not much in there. Okay, so 2 times 3, it's kind of stuck, but we'll fix that formatting. And so 5 times 5, that works well. Okay, now let's just make this look slightly better. This code is sort of duplicated here as well. So what we can do is write a function and put anything that could be duplicated in here to reduce code that's sitting here. So let's call this this function, we want to return a double. We want it to be named as getNumber, and we want to pass the string. So we'll call it string message. And what we also want is, if we're going to copy all of this down here, we'll need that scanner. So we will pass in a scanner object input, and then we'll print out that message. So this comes in from the user. Sorry, it comes in when we call this function. And then we only want that value to be returned. We don't need to, yeah. So return that double value that came in from the keyboard. Okay, now from here, how do we get that information? So the first number will actually be a call to this function, and we'll pass in that message that we want to print. Enter the first number, and yeah, so that looks okay. And then what we want is to also pass input. I will do the same for this second number. Enter the second number. Let's get rid of that. So we kind of reduced the code, the number of lines that we need. Let's see what we got. I'll probably need a new line after that one. Remember, we had. Let's see what that looks. So the first number, that looks okay. So let's try something decimal. So that's fine. Okay, looks good. And we notice that the loop is running 3 times as well. So if we ever change this number, we can, if you ever need it to run more or less, just change the limit. The other thing that I might want to do as well is to maybe decorate this slightly better. So what we can say is, wrong thing. So I just want to sort of indicate the round number. So that's a formatting rule saying there's going to be a decimal and then followed by those tildes, and then whatever replaces this would be the value of I. So let's go with I and see what that looks like. All right, I need a new line right here. So \n. Okay. So 1 times 2, 3 times 3, and 5 times 5, looking good. Only thing is we don't want around 0, 1, 2 because it's actually around 1, 2, 3 for the user. So what we can do is we can do a +1. Good to put these in brackets, not necessary, but looks better. So now we've got a round one. We've just incremented that I for visual reasons, but it doesn't really change the value of I. Okay, so 6 times 6 and 9 times 9. That's it. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope this has answered your question. Thank you so much for your question, and thank you for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.